we as women do that all the time. And unfortunately, it doesn't make it a good thing, like you said. I mean, we get everything going. It's like ping pong balls going all over the place. You walk away and then you have a hard time coming back to it. So it is a lot of self-discipline and to stay focused on one thing at a time and or at least two, no more than two, like, and get it done. Stay focused there. And you'll find out how much more productive you can be instead of having all those irons in the fire at once. So
Yep.
thanks.
Even expanding on that, Julie, as I'm thinking about that as you're talking, and my phone rings.
Oh,
Right. And so I shut the ringer off now, so I'm not going to be distracted by that. But how many times are we focused on doing something and then our phone rings and we take the call, right? And so then we lose our focus. We have to start, where did I, and maybe we may even get completely distracted, from that. So, I mean, what is distracting us? What is taking our attention? And I would think the phone is probably one of the number one culprits and it's kind of, because there's two different ways. And again, I'm not sure if I'm going to get this just popped into my head. People live in a crisis management scenario where all they're doing is moving towards the immediate thing in front of them, and then the next thing comes in front of them and they drop that ball, versus being organized and prioritized and list orientated and not letting life and all of these, because when we break it down, really, there's very few things that are truly emergencies, right? I mean, really, there are very few things that need our attention immediately. I mean, very few things, but yet we let a bunch of these things take our time, get us off focused. And then what happens is we then go kind of down that rabbit hole, chasing, whatever that might be, and getting off of task, off of the priority that we're involved in. So let's go ahead. Anyone else have something they want to share in that area?
Just what I want to add there too, John, and it kind of goes in there, is it's all about balancing too, because we have to balance our life out. And even like you talk about the phone distraction, that is huge. And I mean, if you have a spouse that is not involved with the company as well, and you're always looking at your phone, that is really annoying to them. And it does cause disruption and throws unbalance, and then that just makes everything go kind of sideways. So just wanted to add that.
And something just popped into my mind to that what you said, and this I believe came from Jim Rohn. He said, when you're doing something, be there. Mm-hmm. When you're be present. And what I guess popped that in my mind is, we're out for dinner with someone, right? We're spending time with someone and we're staring down at our phone. We're texting. We're not giving that person our attention, right? It's disrespectful, and I'm guilty as anybody of this. I mean, I do it. But what popped into mind is the Jim Rohn, when he said, when you're doing something, be there, be present, be all in and attention, and just think about how that makes even the other person feel, right? When you're there, when you're actually being there versus being distracted, and you're kind of halfway there, right? So I think that's great. Here's another quote. This one's from Stephen Covey. The key is in not spending time, but investing time. So that's Stephen Covey. The key is not spending time, it's investing time. And I think if we look at our time as an investment, right? We don't want to waste our investments. We spend our money, we invest our money, we think about it, right? We don't just throw it away. We don't just throw it, well, I guess we have, it does happen, but it makes us feel bad. Well, time is more valuable, as Jim Rohn says, time is more valuable than money. And so how are we investing it, not spending it? How are we investing our time? let's see, here's another one from Mozart. The shorter way to do many things is to only do one thing at a time. The shorter way to do many things is to do one thing at a time. That kind of speaks to that distraction, the multitasking, spinning plates, right? This is from William Shakespeare, and it's better to be 3 hours too soon than a minute too late. Better to be 3 hours too soon than a minute too late. I like that. Okay, anyone else want to jump in here and share with us their thoughts on time management and what they've learned, what they're doing wrong, what you think the rest of us can learn from, or
Yeah. So, John, thanks first of all for allowing me to be able to still cut my lawn, because you made me feel guilty for a minute. I bought a souped up 20 horsepower tractor, but here's what I love to do. I love to cut it, but you see these here? This is one of the best investments in the world. I put these on, and for those 4 hours that I'm cutting my 2 acres, I'm listening to only educational, motivational stuff. Right now, it's like I'm on certain topics, but I love listening to Wallace Wattles, The Science of Getting Rich. Unbelievable. So anyway, just real quick, I wanted to share something that one of my mentors shared with me way early on in this profession. And I decided to follow this individual and ask him how he made so much money and what he did to do it. And he had this quote. He actually wrote. I read this every day, by the way, in the morning when I wake up, and it says, "Time management is something we all have to pay close attention to." You see, most people are used to showing up to work and having a boss tell them what needs to be done. They're not used to creating their own schedules and sticking to them. There's a very big difference in activity and productivity. Most people feel that they've done a very good day's work in their opportunity just simply because they've been doing paperwork or listening to conference calls. Maybe they attended a training call or rearranged their desk. They may have spent the day answering emails or talking to reps about how their business is going. Although this is good stuff, it won't make you any money. The only thing that makes you money in this business is phase one activity, and that's what they called it, was phase one activity. Peaking and presenting to those that are interested in listening. One-on-ones, and they used to call them private business receptions. This is the only way to achieve your financial goals in this business. And one of the leaders in the company shared his daily schedule, and I'll just share that with you guys because this really caught my attention 13 years ago. 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., personal time, exercise, prayer, and self-development. 9 to noon, personal phase one activity, peaking and presenting. 12 to 1, lunch in a public place for prospecting. 1 to 4, group phase one activity, 3-way calls, one-on-ones, two-on-ones, and downline work. 4 to 6, family time dinner. 6 to 11, private business receptions. And he goes on to say, ladies and gentlemen, this is a full-time balanced schedule. This is a schedule to fill in a schedule like this, you must be doing a minimum of 5 one-on-ones a day, 2-on-ones, 3 personal receptions a week, and that's for full-timers minimum. He says if you do part-time, just fit it into your schedule. This guy was hardcore, and I remember when I met him, I said, I want to make as much money as you are, and he said, then follow this schedule. So anyway, I don't follow that to a T. But I can tell you this much. There are times during the day when I work out of my home office and my wife is in the kitchen and she'll yell over to me, hey, Bill, can you go get the mail, or can you help me with the garbage? And I go, no, right now is RGA time. And she's like, she knows what that means now. And RGA is revenue generating activity. I do not take the garbage out during RGA time. I do not go and fold my laundry during RGA time. I do not cut the lawn during RGA time. I only do the things I want to do when normal people are sleeping. That's it.
Okay. Wow, there's a lot there, Bill, what you talked about in your mentor, one of your mentors, in what you had read there. I mean, number one, that's a DMO, right? It's a DMO. It's prioritizing. It's very prioritizing, right? It's giving blocks of time to, just like lunch, but even evaluating that lunch to be in a productive setting where they can possibly prospect, So there's a lot that was said in that, in what you talked about. But and like I said, blocking those times off, like you just talked about, what'd you call it again? Income.
I call it revenue generating activity.
Yeah, you would not get distracted during the revenue generating activity. You're staying focused on that activity without getting distracted by taking the garbage out or mowing the lawn or doing things you can do at another time. And that comes back to that pay time. Here's another quote. I'm not even sure who this is. Maybe one of you know. Charles Darwin. Oh, my little dog. Charles Darwin. And it's, a man who dares to waste 1 hour of his life has not discovered the value of life, right? I mean, even as I age, and now I'm 56, and I think about just how unbelievably fast time goes, and how do we want to spend our time, right? I mean, even last year during the whole pandemic, in one sense, it felt like it was dragging on, but in the other sense, it went by in lightning speed. And here we are in April. I mean, before we know it, it's going to be July. And before we know it, it is going to be October. And before we know it, we're going to be celebrating another new year. I mean, it's crazy. It's a blink of an eye how fast time moves, and how are we really spending it, and how many people are truly, wasting it. And in these non-productive, non-growing, mind-numbing activities. So who's next? Who wants to jump in here?
John, I'd like to just jump in with a comment. You had talked about how it's like getting older, okay, and what you're observing. And I'm going to come from another perspective, and that is when I left the field that I was working in, my mindset there and my work ethic and my DMO was different than it is with network marketing. And so now I am having to kind of learn a whole new way of pursuing my day. And that doesn't change just like that, just because I want it to. It happens by me deciding I'm going to be in, and I'm going to do this no matter how many times I fall down on my face. There are days that I feel like, gosh, why can't I just get it? And my husband said, you know what? You're doing great. Just keep going. So I just wanted to make that comment that it's really easy for you all who have been network marketers for a long time. But for us newbies, this is a whole new jacket to put on and to try to figure out how to navigate, at least for me. Maybe other people get it like that, but for me, it has been a journey of rediscovering something brand new. So.
Well, Kathy, thank you for that. And it made me think about something too, because what you talked about is definitely reality for everybody. Because when they're in a job, they know what time they have to go to work. They have a boss or a schedule, when they can take break, when they can take lunch, what they have to accomplish, throughout that day. And so you're not really in control of your time. Someone else is in control of your time, right? In network marketing, you are in control of your time. And so that's we're dealing with a volunteer army. We don't have a boss. We don't have someone telling us. We might have an upline suggesting. We might have training material that will suggest or help you understand. But at the end of the day, you're in charge. What time you get up, what you want to do, if you want to do, if you're going to, spend, because again, comes back to what I talked very early on in our conversation about people that are, I don't have the time to do that. I don't have the time to do that. Well, what are you doing? Because you look at other people. I can't find a quote in here, but it essentially it says there's people that will accomplish more in a week than some will accomplish in a lifetime. I mean, just think about how incredibly profound. Let's break it down this way. There's people that will accomplish more in a week than a person will in a year, than an average person will in a year, right? So because we get distracted. So I think we constantly, and I'm working on this too. I mean, I've wasted plenty of time, and I still do. But you think about someone making fortunes. all of the different things. And there's no question that one of the keys to their crazy success is time management. It's surrounding and, putting a value on their time as they grow to, have other people around them help them with things that they're not good at, that is not, something that they have to do. But when we're first getting started, entering into networking as you are, and you've got all this time on your hand and you can get up whenever you want, you're in complete control. And, what am I going to do? And what a lot of people do is they spend half their day thinking about what they're going to do with the other half, right? Or they spend 70% of their day thinking about what they're going to do with the other, final few hours. And this is where it said, put your day on paper before it begins, right? The night before, write down that list of everything you want to accomplish. And then prioritize it, and then do the most important thing first until you've accomplished it or exhausted it, until you move on to the next, right? So, that's simple. It's simple, but it's effective. And if we hold ourselves accountable to that task, to that activity, because again, we're self-employed. No one is standing over us. No one's going to fire us. No one is going to, jump on you about it. You have to do that yourself. So you have to have that self-discipline, that self-awareness, that holding yourself accountable. Maybe it even ties back to what I talk about in the personal checkup. How, doing the personal checkup on how I'm spending my time. Am I spending it, just, spinning plates? Am I spending my time, with things that, I feel busy. I seem like I'm overwhelmed here, but I'm not getting anywhere, right? I'm not accomplishing anything. I'm not getting anything done, but I'm busy. Well, what are you busy doing? Right? So anyone else want to jump into that and maybe pick up off of that or share with what they're doing? Go ahead, Kathy.
Sure.
Okay, John, I just wanted to say back to what you were talking about with Stephen Covey. I took his facilitator class when I was working full-time in the school, and they did a demonstration with a jar. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that, where they had the sand and the pebbles and the stones. And a lot of times what people do, he wanted to fill that jar with everything. And a lot of people fill it with the sand and the pebbles first. And the big rocks or the important items that you need to get done for that RGA are tried to be stuffed in at the end, and there's no room left. And so what he says to do is to put those big rocks in the jar first, and then the sand and the pebbles in, and they kind of just spurts around the big rocks. And I think we forget that sometimes. And I also know, and I know Anne, I'm just going to say your name, Anne Livingston taught me this a couple of weeks ago, is like, have pink on your calendar. And so pink is like parts where you get to go and have a date night. And that's actually scheduled in there so that your wife isn't trying to get your attention, or your husband's not trying to get your attention, and you're in your RGA. But if it's scheduled on your calendar, then you honor that pink and you close the books and carry on. So I just wanted to share that piece that has been really helpful for me. And the second piece I want to say for my own wellness is scheduling that morning miracle and doing the self before sell, and making sure that your mind, like John, you say this all the time, you got to have that mindset. And that I do my meditations and I get my movement, my walk in before I even look at what's going on the cell phone. So that has been a huge piece for me. So that's
yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at this is a quote, anonymous. I'm just kind of going through some of these as you're talking, and this is anonymous, so I don't know who the quote is from. The future is created by what we do today, not by what we do tomorrow, right? I mean, the present is the most important. The future is unknown, right? We can plan for the future, right? But it's what are we doing today? What are we doing today? Because that comes, I guess we could tie that into procrastination. And I think what Kathy just talked about is procrastination. It's doing the easy things first and not doing the most important things. And the most important things are, I mean, that's essentially what you've described there, is we push off and now we don't have room for it.
Well,
Right.
and one more thing I just want to say, and if you guys follow me on Facebook or follow my daughter, go read her posts. They're pretty profound. But one thing she said yesterday is, I've never needed to take the time to pour nourishment to myself first before I was able to freely help others. And so I think that's part of it, is to remember that in order for us to be in this industry of wellness, we have to pour into ourselves first and be that great nourished person before you can go and help and nourish other people. So
Yeah, I think that ties into the mindset, right? It ties into the mindset, because that's what holds us back many times, is not having the mindset, not having the confidence, having the self-doubt and the fear. And so spending the time on those mindset building activities may be, and not maybe, is an incredible important thing, because but you have to still take action, right? I remember it was Nancy Carson did this example where she talked about, the things that we do, and she was on stage walking, and she was talking about, prepare, study, personal development, and just kept moving in a circle. And then the other leg, or the other foot, was the action. But if we do action without any preparation, we're spinning our wheels or walking in a circle as well. It takes both. It takes the preparation and it takes the action. But part of, especially in our business, because it's so mindset focused, the way we feel, right? The way we feel, having that excitement and having that proper mindset. Because if your mindset is messed up, you're going to procrastinate. If your mindset is messed up, you're going to, you're going to do easy things, right? If your mindset is messed up, you're wallowing in a pit of self-pity and not moving forward. I mean, what happens, as Jim Rohn says, what happens to us all. It's what we do about what happens that makes the difference, right? I mean, everybody has challenges in their life, and sometimes what we need to do is we need to look at sometimes others on what they're accomplishing with some of the challenges that they have. I mean, I had just learned yesterday just something devastating to a kind of an extended family member. It's my ex-sister-in-law's daughter-in-law, 31 years old, right? She's been going to multiple doctors and complaining of lower back pain and pain, and they kept telling her it was a bladder infection. Yesterday, she finally got to the point where she says, they did a CAT scan, completely filled with cancer, and they're talking like 2 months. I mean, they did another one today. They said it's in her brain. 4 kids. I mean, think about how devastating that is. And I just like, oh my God. I mean, I don't care what you have going on in your life, right? I mean, there's others that have things a whole lot worse. And so be grateful and thankful for your own life and what you have, and not what some others are having to deal with. So I kind of went a different direction but anyway, I would bet, you have to be thinking about how you're spending your time, or how you want to spend the rest of your time. Well, I think there was another, and these things are just popping in my mind, but they say that the average person, given the average lifespan, okay, has 4,000, it's Friday today, 4,000 Fridays in their life, okay? 4,000 Fridays in your life. And so how many are left? And I think the average lifespan at that, for that was like 70. And so think about, I mean, I'm looking at, okay, so I'm 56. I'm 56. And so I think I have, like 1,100 Fridays left or something. Now, if I look at that number, 1,099 after today, right? I don't know exact number, but think about that. The average person has 4,000 Fridays in your life. How many of them have you already used, and how many of them are yet to, looking at the average lifespan. So it's pretty easy to figure out. You can just, what is there, 52 Fridays in a year, right? And so, 52 times, what is that? Anybody have a calculator handy? I tried to open mine up here. We'll just look. If we look at, so there's 52 Fridays in a year, right? 52 times, say 70 years. Okay, 3,640. And that's at 70. So 56, so you think about how many Fridays you've got left. Anyway, just do the math. That'll wake you up thinking, oh my God, I don't want to waste another one.
Seriously, I don't have very many left. I only got 3 years. I'm doomed.
Hey, John, don't even go there. We only have 24 hours in a day. Let's start from there. So it's like almost 12 o'clock. So how many hours left for the day, right? For us. So it's like, I really, really enjoy this topic. And I just want to go back to circle around to your, main idea earlier about learning to say no, because a lot of us, as network marketers, we feel like for us to grow our business, we have to be out and about, be in every party. It's hard to say no, and especially when you started to have a team, you'll be pulled in every direction, and it's really hard to kind of pull yourself back or step back and prioritize your time, because as you said, we will be all over the place, and at the end of our 24 hours, you're counting about your Fridays, John, for the next 70 years. How about let's start counting how many hours left in our day, right? Half of our days done already. What are the priorities, the task that's of highest priority of today? What have we done? I've learned I feel guilty because we have motherly instincts. As for women, we are nurturing. And when we have friends around, we tend to spend a lot of time with them, and we forgot about major tasks that we need to accomplish during the day. And for the past 2 days, I have friends from LA, and they're asking me to go dinner at 10 p.m., go into karaoke at 9 p.m. And I can honestly say that it takes a lot of maturity and growth in experience, because all these skills doesn't happen overnight. It's hard to say no to your friends, and being in the industry is just so hard. And I've learned to say no. I said, I go to bed. The latest time that I go to bed is 10 p.m. is too late for me. So it's important to set a boundary also, just for yourself. That's like we talk about personal growth, development, self-love, and those are very, very easy things. I mean, put a priority, put a boundary also, because you'll be pulled in every direction, with good intention from people, right? But at the same time, you sacrifice, you lose sleep. How many hours? Like, let's say a Japanese said, 4 hours is enough for you to function the next day. If you lose sleep, you lack sleep, then your health goes down. So it's a yo-yo. So I'm so amazed how we talk about this time management, because we look on long term, but at the same time we don't learn to focus on today also, and the time that we have. It's important also, John, to, for example, how many hours you put on for ourselves. The task that you said, it's important, that needs to be done today. So yeah, just want to share that.
Let's expand on that. Your time that you give for yourself, right? Because I struggle in this area, because I have a hard time saying no. But what happens when you never say no? You get overwhelmed. If you don't give yourself some self-love, some time to reflect, some time to nourish the body, to nourish the mind, to nourish the soul, as Jim Rohn says, we get burnt out. I know I find myself at time to time where I'll get edgy. I'll get a little bit edgy, and so it is important to, because I had someone here just a little while ago, a few weeks, about a month ago. I had plans, and they invited me to come to a Friday event, and I already had plans, and I said no. I said, no, I can't. I've already got that time. And, they were upset, and that bothered me. It bothered me that they were upset, but in the same notion, I needed to do it for myself. You do need to say no, and don't let the guilt of what someone else needs, take away from what you need, right? We have to take care of ourselves first, right, before we can take care of others. And I don't do the greatest job at that, and I'm trying to do better at it. I think we all have things we have to work on and grow, and saying no is one of them for me, for sure. I struggle in this time management area, as much as the next person, sometimes maybe even more, right? So anything else as we close out here?
This is one of my most passionate topics, especially right now, because man, when you're talking about, everybody has a desire to be their own boss, right? But we're so busy being bossed around. Really think about that. If you want to be your own boss, you got to boss your calendar around. The easiest way for you to determine whether I can do this or can do that when somebody asks me is to look at my calendar. So John asked me, hey, Siv, can you do this? Say, hold on 1 second. Let me see. I can't do it. I already got it scheduled, right? No excuses. It's me first. How can I contribute to you if I'm not growing first? Come on now, right? Somebody hears me, right? It's the things you do in the dark, growing yourself first in order for you to contribute. So if you're having a hard time contributing, how can you attract people that want to contribute with you? Right? We're looking to attract more people. So you got to boss your calendar around so people can't boss you around. So here's what's going on in my life right now, because I know we're in prime marketing season. I'm like, okay, I got to revise my calendar. So what Siv's got to do now? I got to sleep earlier. I got to discipline myself to sleep earlier, and I got to wake up earlier. I wake up 4:30 every day now for the past 5 days. Why? Because my life's important enough. I have to master my calendar. So if you don't want to be bossed around, you got to boss yourself around. You got to be the boss. Boss your calendar. Don't let people dictate your day or your emotions. Master that. And watch out, man. Here we come. Let's go.
Wow, that was really great stuff, Siv. I love your first comment. We want to be our own boss, but yet we're being bossed around, by other people dictating our schedule and our calendar when we need to be in control of that. And that's what you're saying there is prioritize. Don't let yourself, get off track by, someone else's demand, right? Be in control of your calendar so you can organize it. So thank you for that. That was phenomenal. We're going to go ahead and I guess say goodbye for the day. And I hope you guys got a lot out of it. I really enjoyed this fireside chat. We'll be back next Friday again, and we'll be doing another one. Until then, everybody have a fantastic rest of your day. Let's not waste it. Let's make the most of it. Bye now.